Hello and welcome back to the Creative Control Card Podcast. Here with your boy Jayden Simmons, joined by Max Crider. And Max, man, it's been a frustrating weekend as a wrestling fan, am I right?
This is only February. February just began. Just beyond last weekend in general. We have had years worth of news crammed into a month, and the hits just keep coming one way or another. There's just there would be big story of the year after big story of the year. And I saw a tweet from, I think it was Sean Ross Sapp, where he said something like Netflix was 6 big stories ago.
Literally, honestly, it's just so much going on this road to WrestleMania right now, and some of it is, well, a lot of it is driving some of these fans' excitement for the big show down, you know. But we're not going to beat around the bush here. We're going to address the elephant in the room straight on. Last Friday on SmackDown, Cody Rhodes came face to face with Roman Reigns, and it was what everybody entering was excited. We had Seth Rollins on Monday try to convince Cody to fight him for the World Heavyweight Championship, but we all know that Cody's beef is with Roman. We all know that the belt that Cody wants is Roman's belt. We all know that Roman screwed him out of it last year with the solo Sokoa thumb. So the wrestling world was more than disappointed when Cody Rhodes said to Roman that I will fight you, but I will not fight you at WrestleMania. And then Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson comes out and looks Roman Reigns in the eyes, and the seeds have been planted for what looks like a Roman Reigns versus Rock WrestleMania match. Boy, did they drop the ball. I mean, what? Max, I'm gonna let you take over for a little bit because I just need to collect all of my thoughts.
Yeah, it makes zero sense, and in terms of how it looks, given when The Rock joined TKO and him saying on air, he's on record saying that he wanted a really long-term build between him and Roman Reigns, which people were thinking, oh, he means WrestleMania 41, next year, like he did with John Cena, how he started building that feud even before WrestleMania 27, and then interfering in the main event of Mania 27, them fighting at Mania 28, and then rematching at WrestleMania 29. That's what people were thinking. So for him to suddenly join the company and push hard for a main event between he and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, it's just a slap in the face to so many people that aren't named Cody Rhodes. It doesn't make sense booking wise. It feels like a power play. And really, for me, the big thing is, what's the difference between Dwayne Johnson doing that and the meme of Hulk Hogan always going, "That doesn't work for me, brother." That feels like what this is. This feels very politically motivated of a match to insert it so out of nowhere when all signs were pointing to the contrary. And one more thing before I let you speak your mind on this, Jayden, because I feel like you might be more passionate about this than me. WrestleMania did not need saving. If anything, I think Elimination Chamber needed saving, because not only is CM Punk not going to be at Elimination Chamber, but there are apparently visa issues with Gunther, so he won't be able to go to Elimination Chamber either, which means, and Roman Reigns is not on the card for Elimination Chamber, so that means the United States Championship is the top male championship with potential of being defended, but really the main event's going to be something involving Rhea Ripley. But if there's a show that needs quote unquote saving, it's Elimination Chamber, because really what's going on there other than a number one contendership Elimination Chamber match? WrestleMania, you can do so many things. Your roster is very stacked. You do not need to insert The Rock into the WrestleMania picture out of fear that WrestleMania is in need of saving, because it's going to sell out regardless of his appearances or not. And it's a slap in the face to not just Cody, but all the other guys on the roster who are really talented, who can put on main event level matches, as opposed to The Rock, who hasn't wrestled a main event match or genuine wrestling match in 11 years. The only other time I can remember him wrestling a match is when he squashed the Wyatt family in 6 seconds at Mania 32. That was literally just rock bottom cover to win. He has not wrestled a legitimate full-on match in 11 years. And the last time he did, he tore up some muscles, not even like halfway in. So it's, from many fronts, it just makes no sense. And there's a reason why We Want Cody has been trending like nothing's ever trended before.
Yeah. All right, man. For the viewers, I'm telling you right now that for the next 5 or so minutes, you are going to get a very, very passionate rant of all of the frustrations I have coming out of this angle. So if you don't want to hear that, go ahead and skip forward now. But let's just start at the top. We had an 8-week build to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. It was the first premium live event after Survivor Series. We had an 8-week build to it. And entering the show, there was a lot of, who could win, who couldn't win. But there were clearly two favorites in Cody and Punk. Cody and Punk end up being the final two. Everybody's bought in that potentially CM Punk is going to win it, so he can challenge Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and Cody Rhodes can earn his way back to the Tribal Chief. But Cody ends up winning the Rumble. Shocked me, but I wasn't disappointed because hey, back-to-back Royal Rumble wins for Cody. That's great. Redemption arc. He's about to go finish the story against Roman at WrestleMania. So, for Cody to win the Rumble, point at Roman Reigns at the Rumble, go on Raw the next night, listen to what Seth has to say, and says, I'll think about it. Just for 4 days later, the thought that Cody Rhodes came up with in storyline is, as a matter of fact, I don't even need to fight Roman Reigns. I don't even need to go to WrestleMania. I'ma just let Dwayne Johnson come in and essentially take my spot. That makes no sense. And I understand CM Punk got injured. Seth Rollins got injured. Maybe you're looking, to me, this felt like a panic move of like, hey, we might just need to do something. But, I've seen some reports say that The Rock has been pushing for this since January 3rd. So, that's before the Rumble. I don't know. But either way, if your end game was Rock versus Roman, then why did Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble in the first place? I'm baffled by it. It makes no sense logically. And then that's just the starting point. Part B is you make Cody Rhodes look so foolish and scared by essentially saying, I don't want to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. It doesn't logically make sense. And then before that, you have Roman Reigns on the microphone essentially burying the World Heavyweight Championship, which, I'm not going to get mad at Roman for being a great talker and, prophesizing his title over Seth's. But, I don't see how you as Cody Rhodes hears what Roman just said about that other title, and in your mind you're like, maybe I do want to go for that title instead. It's okay. It's just there's so much wrong. There's so much wrong. And then I like that you kept mentioning this doesn't just affect Cody Rhodes. This affects so many other people of The Rock inserting himself into the storyline. We saw on Monday night that Drew McIntyre basically unleashed a full villain side of himself by, chastising and then attacking an injured CM Punk that he hurt. We see him continuing his beef with Sami Zayn, and essentially Drew McIntyre's look like the new top heel in the business. If CM Punk is injured, Drew McIntyre could have easily stepped up and faced Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship. Or let alone, we could have made it a triple threat with Sami Zayn. That could have been a phenomenal WrestleMania match, just standalone. So it's like The Rock comes in, they decide to pivot Cody towards Seth, probably, because, we can't assume yet since nothing's been officially announced. But if you're pivoting Cody towards Seth, where does that leave Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn? I don't get it. I don't understand. And it's just, there's so many layers and so many issues with The Rock coming back and making it all about himself. And it's just, it's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating because, like you said, it's been 11 years since you've competed in a match. When you hit Jinder Mahal with a spine buster and people's elbow on Monday Night Raw, you looked gassed. So me personally, I don't want to see The Rock and Roman Reigns in a 7.5 minute finisher fest where I know that The Rock isn't going to win the Universal Championship. But I've said my piece for now. If something else, pulls at my heartstrings that makes me want to just go on another rant, it'll happen. But that's just where I'm at right now. It makes no sense. No sense.
No. And I think St. Louis, Las Vegas, and Charlotte, those crowds this weekend genuinely could determine the fate of the WrestleMania main event. Because given the outcry that we've seen as of late, given what we've seen at the house shows last weekend where the vignette of The Rock was booed and all the things that Cody was doing at the house shows, if St. Louis, Las Vegas for the quote-unquote kickoff, and by kickoff they mean like the little face-off things that UFC likes to do, and then Friday in Charlotte, if those three crowds make their voices heard that they do not want Roman versus The Rock, if they make that very clear, that is probably the only way Cody Rhodes gets reinserted into the matchup with Roman that he should have had this whole time. And even if you can argue, oh, well, this is just a whole elaborate booking decision to make Cody Rhodes look so much better and make everybody like him. It's the same thing as saying the Authority intentionally booked Daniel Bryan to lose all those times from SummerSlam up until WrestleMania. It's like them saying they did that intentionally so they can pretend that they covered up a huge mistake that they never had to make in the first place. Cody does not need this underdog storyline, Daniel Bryan-esque success story, because he's already well established, he's already well liked by the fans. That's already kind of his mentality of finishing the story against the odds of Roman Reigns and the Bloodline bringing him down. You do not need all of these unnecessary twists and turns to achieve the euphoria that would be achieved without Cody Rhodes going down the winding path to beat Roman Reigns. That's also my thing.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. You're absolutely spot on. It's like they're becoming obsessed with booking Cody as some underdog, with that has to go through every trial and tribulation. But I mean, the dude has won back-to-back Royal Rumbles. You can't really call him an underdog at that point.
No. And not only that, but it really felt like Cody Rhodes was first half of the year, second half of the year wrestler in a way since he's come back. Because he goes from winning the Royal Rumble to losing to Roman Reigns, then losing to Brock Lesnar twice in a row for reasons of they need to buy time. And then they have him fight Dominic Mysterio for, again, reasons of burning time before he finally gets his win over Brock Lesnar in a match where people call it a really good match, but there's a difference between a really good wrestling match and the face getting their butt kicked for the first 15, 20 minutes only to hit their finisher a couple of times and quote unquote come back and win. It's not real. And for him to finally beat Brock, I finally started coming back around to him when he and Jay became tag champions, because that was really funny. Just it felt like two friends accidentally won the tag team championships. But
that's so unexpected too.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess they're making Cody Rhodes a legitimate threat to the main event scene again, and they have him win the Rumble, which I didn't have him winning, but I can't complain about. But now they have made him look like a complete idiot.
Literally. It's it's just so stupid, man. I'm not even there's a lot of people that you can point fingers at, but it really comes back to The Rock himself. Just, this is a selfish decision from him. It's inserting himself into the main event scene. And to me, it just feels like almost like jealousy, seeing that how well the company is doing without The Rock being a draw. I'm not going to put words into the man's mouth, but that's what it comes off as to me.
I would have been happy if The Rock and Roman Reigns faced off at WrestleMania 39. Mm-hmm. I would have been fine with that. Cody Rhodes, that probably means Cody Rhodes doesn't win the Rumble, but that's fine with me. Cody Rhodes can find a way to finish his story that doesn't involve him losing to Roman at WrestleMania when all signs point to him being the guy to win. If we push that back to this year, where Cody Rhodes finally has the chance to dethrone Roman Reigns, beats him against all odds, I'm perfectly happy. If they had Roman Rocket Elimination Chamber, I would have been happy. Hell, if they had Roman Rock in Backlash in France, I would have been happy. Yeah. But they, of all places, they decide it has to be WrestleMania. Not just WrestleMania, this particular WrestleMania, when everything else is going on in terms of companies, in terms of storylines, when everybody else has just about as good a case to get a shot at Roman's title, except for The Rock. The thing with The Rock too is that the more I've watched his promos, especially the ones since the Attitude Era, the more I've realized that it's not going to be captivating television. It's just going to be nostalgia. It's going to be nostalgia baiting, and literally just The Rock saying, "Oh, that's fine and dandy, but insert playground insult here." That's going to be what I don't know. I guess the one promo Rock and Roman do before WrestleMania is going to be. The Rock has not cut a promo that has been genuinely innovative in a very, very long time. He's just come out, cut the same rah promo, ha laugh at the heel promo ever since he came back in 2011, which is also a big reason I'm not a fan. I can't believe they made me not happy that The Rock is here, but
Yeah,
I continue to be surprised.
man. Oh man, yeah. The Rock
My main
is
event, my main event
yeah.
is
Go
going to
ahead.
be Bailey Io Sky. That is my
Oh
main. That
yeah,
is what I'm considering the main event.
yeah,
I
and
genuinely can't believe that unless something somehow changes, I cannot believe that I'm going to willingly tune out of the main event of WrestleMania.
yeah. And I was gonna touch on that, to lead into the next segment. So I'm happy you brought it up. Like this doesn't only take away from Cody. It doesn't just take away from the Raw scene, but like we had one of the best, face turns that we've seen in a long time happen on SmackDown, and nobody talked about it because of The Rock. Like that Bailey segment with Damage Control was so captivating, so emotional. Like it really, I personally think it's the best women's storyline that has gone into a WrestleMania, and I'm so excited to see Bailey and Io actually face off. And I hope it gets the night one main event at bare minimum, because that's just it's such a good story. It's two phenomenal in ring workers, and like over the next 50 so days, they just have so much things to build off of.
The moment where Bailey finally ends up speaking Japanese to Io Sky is so great. Just
Priceless.
it it ended I remember seeing all the headcanons about like Dakota Kai being fluent in Japanese and Bailey just not understanding. Oh, swerve. It turns out she's understood them the whole time. I another thing that I saw on Twitter that I noticed that I always find funny is like all these times where Triple H and Shawn Michaels start rehashing like iconic storylines that they were a part of. Like
Yeah.
all of the comparisons to Batista turning on Evolution with Bailey just being in the door frame. It's like she heard them the whole time. Uh-oh. But it's going to be a really, really captivating, emotional feud between two very, very good workers who
Mhm.
deserve a main event spotlight. And that is what I want to see at WrestleMania. I understand that WrestleMania has been billed as a spectacle more than anything for the longest time. And you can have spectacles like Sami Zayn versus the Jackass cast at WrestleMania 38, I believe it was.
Mhm.
That was a spectacle that was genuinely like fun to watch. But you want to know something? Where on the card exactly was Sami Zayn versus the cast of Jackass? I know it wasn't in the main event. I know that
Not at
much.
all. Not at all.
It was not even close to the main event. So it's really a shame for all of the people who watch WWE because they know full well that they have some really, really talented workers, performers, high quality stand up people who go into work every day, do all that they're told to do and then some, like Bailey and Io Sky. Those are the matches I'm going to be excited for. Not only that, but whoever they pair Gunther up with at WrestleMania as well. That's what I and so many other people are going to be watching for. I straight up, I do not care for your nostalgia. Genuinely,
Yeah.
I understand that. Oh, you cannot deny The Rock's influence, talent as an actor, all of what he did in the Attitude Era. But again, let me check the clock here. Rock hasn't had a full time run since the Attitude Era, which, if my calculations are correct, ran from 1998 to 2002.
Yep.
2002 is when I was born.
Yep.
I have I was not alive, or at least wouldn't have been alive to remember a full time Rock run
Right.
in WWE.
Right, man. To put it as bluntly as possible, full time fans don't deserve part time workers at the biggest shows. and that's really how it should have always been and always should be. So, like you said, I really, really, really hope that Bailey and Io get this main event on one of the nights at least. And yeah, while WrestleMania is a spectacle, I believe that it should be reserved for those talents that are putting in the work 52 weeks out of the year. And it really bothers me that The Rock is using his power in this way, you know. But Bailey and Io, that was not the only turn that we saw this weekend. Just last night at NXT's Vengeance Day pay-per-view, after the main event, Ilya and Trick Williams went at it. Honestly, what I believe is a early match of the year candidate. They put their all in the ring for that match. But then, as the show was about to go off the air, Carmelo Hayes chop blocks the injured leg of Trick Williams and then takes several chair shots to the injured leg and tells him there can only be one, and I am him. Man. Man. I was absolutely heartbroken last night. I gotta say.
It's been building for so long, but the best heel turns are the ones you can see coming from a mile away, but are still going to be very emotional when they do in fact happen. And Carmelo Hayes' heel turn is most certainly one of those. I did find it really funny how, like, since the beginning of the year, they've had Carmelo Hayes, and going back into December, they've had Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown as, like, a plucky baby face. But then on NXT, they're slow burning, like, his heel turn on Trick Williams. And it's so funny to see that. But he's finally turned full on heel. And this is, I think, his final act in NXT. Really all there is left to do for him is feud with Trick Williams, have those two fight on Mania weekend in their blow-off match, and then have Carmelo graduate to the main roster as this new heel persona.
Right. I'm really interested. I'm really excited to see it. Of course, as an NXT fan, you get flashbacks of Gargano and Ciampa. But I'm really excited for this feud just because we've seen how great Trick Williams has been on NXT TV. We've seen how the fans just naturally gravitate towards him, giving him the chance, the great entrance. Like, Trick Williams has like superstar written all over him, and this is really what he needs to cement that. I admittedly didn't see the first half of Carmelo Hayes' NXT run where he came in as a heel. So, this is going to be very interesting for me to see how his heel work goes. But yeah, man, like you said, I'm really excited to see what this feud goes or where this feud goes. And, hopefully in that blow-off match, Trick Williams can get put over and Carmelo Hayes can go ahead and work up to the main roster. But yeah, I really do hope that SmackDown next week touches on, the heel turn so it can keep the fans in the know who might not be tuned into the NXT shows and PLEs. But I'm very interested to see Carmelo Hayes grow as a heel character. And who knows? I'm excited to see what he does on the main roster when he gets there. But, man, Trick Williams, he's destined for greatness, man. He's absolutely destined for greatness.
I'm excited, beyond excited for him. Also was excited for that little vignette that played at Vengeance Day about the three faces that people see.
Yeah.
Really want to see where that one goes. Could be anybody, really. Could be Okada. Could be anybody else. But shots in the dark. Who do you think it might be?
I'm thinking it's either Okada or Julia. I'm leaning more Julia just because Lyra Valkyria, of course, successfully retained her title even after Lola Vice cashed in her breakout tournament contract. So I think that she's gonna need someone else to face like for the Stand and Deliver PLE. And, what better way to make an impact than bringing in the new face, who's one of the hottest, free agents on the market, to face the NXT champion. So that's where I'm at right now. How about you?
I think it's going to be an expectation versus reality ordeal where Okada is the expectation and Julia is the still very good and promising reality.
Yeah.
But like everything, a lot of the rumors have been centered around Okada. If he were to go to WWE, he would first go to NXT, which isn't really the demotion that people think it is, given how good that roster is right now. But I don't think it would take long for Okada to get over with the more casual fan base, even in NXT, because NXT is definitely one of the more hardcore fan bases WWE has, but like even a good portion of casual wrestling fans have a good chance of knowing who Kazuchika Okada is. A big reason I thought that he could debut at the Rumble is because at the Rumble there are a lot of hardcore fans there, and they would know who Kazuchika Okada would be. So I think if Okada spent maybe a month or two in NXT just to like get the lay of the land before debuting on the main roster and feuding with whomever he wants to feud with. Heck, he could feud with Gunther. I would be very happy with that, but also I think it's going to be Julia in the end, who's still very, very talented, and it makes more sense because Lyra Valkyria's schedule looks pretty open right about now, with Roxanne Perez probably graduating to the main roster soon as well. She's probably going to have one more feud, maybe with Lola Vice for you screwed me out of the championship. I think she's also in that camp with Carmelo Hayes, where her time on the NXT roster is up pretty soon, but for reasons of she's off to better things within the company.
For sure. But yeah, man, I mean, it's a lot that went on in the past week. We got Monday Night Raw here tonight. Do you have any final hot takes before we call it an episode?
I personally think that now that Bayley is out of Damage Control and Dakota Kai's allegiance is TBD, but I'm thinking that she stays heel, but we'll have to see. I have an incredible merchandise idea, and it's Damage Control, but in Japanese. But like spelled in Japanese lettering. That's all I need. It will sell so well. Like it just looks cool to begin with, just like putting Japanese letters on just any t-shirt. Like heck, I could probably just buy like a random t-shirt of some random Pokemon on it, and it has Japanese letters on it, and there are going to be people who are going to be like, whoa, that's so cool. What does it say in Japanese? And it's literally just Pikachu, because Pikachu in Japanese and English are literally the same. But like and in this case, it would be like, it's just Damage Control, but spelled in Japanese. But like, I feel like those things would sell just about as well as, I don't know, R-Truth's merch, which is currently selling at the top.
Yeah. And while we're at it, please get them some new music. Please.
Oh my, yeah. Just I'm sorry, you're getting the 2-for-1 special here. And this isn't a unique opinion by any stretch of the imagination, but I think people who are saying WWE and Def Rebel need to part ways are kind of onto something. Because even as somebody who follows the product pretty closely, it's like sometimes I can't tell who's entering because so many people's theme songs are so similar. And what makes a good theme song is that it stands out from the rest. Because like a lot of people's theme songs, they just sound so similar. Like you could pretty easily, I would imagine, mash up some wrestlers who use Def Rebel as an artist's theme songs up pretty well without having to like get good at editing because like they're so similar. Like people, Damage Control should have a much better theme than just ha ha ha. Damage Control. We got the power. 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 You get what I mean.
Yeah.
But like, see, there needs to be, and I know it might cost a lot because of licensing and all that and whatnot, but it is a worthy investment to make your performers stand out by having more unique theme songs than songs that at times feel like they were AI generated.
Yeah, for sure. But I will say, where Def Rebel does lack, with a lot, they do have some standout themes for sure. Trick Williams and Gunther are two names that come to mind for sure that they top notch. But yeah, I mean, we're having a very interesting week in wrestling coming up. Hopefully, some more questions can be answered. I thought about going to the SmackDown in Charlotte this week, but decided against it after what happened on SmackDown last week. So, I hope that the fans can get the message out. But yeah, man, this has been another great episode of the Creative Control Card. #We want Cody.